All right, let's do a short one. Let's just do a real quick one. A simpler game. But let's make sure we're pro at this game. Let's figure out where our trig functions are positive and where they are negative. And we're talking about something like, is cosine of this angle, that angle, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the angle is. We're not talking about whether they're positive or negative. We're wondering, is our ratio positive or negative? It's not the angle. We're not talking about the angle. We're talking about the ratio of the triangle. So this is going to be our game. Which ones are, where are they positive, where are they negative? Do you know where 5 pi over 6 goes? Could you figure out on the unit circle which quadrant that's in? Because that's all we're talking about is quadrants. So I play a quick game and I do this. You see how it says 5 pi over 6 and all this shit has like 2's and just numbers and that? Like, that sucks. Huh? But what I like doing, a little trick, is I see this has a 6 in the bottom. So I can make pi 6 pi over 6. Isn't 6 divided by 6 1? So 1 pi is 6 pi over 6. It's also 4 pi over 4. It's also 3 pi over 3. It's also 2 pi over 2. So now that you see it, you're like, well, I think 5 pi over 6 is right here. This is a huge game. You must know where your angles go. If you don't know where your angles go, you're screwed. You're straight up. You're screwed. You are going to commit sign error everywhere. This is a highly important little section that's not so bad because I'm going to teach you a little acronym and go through. So we want to talk about it. So all trig functions are positive in quadrant 1. All of them. Every single one of them. But I don't want to think about all of them. Because if sine of pi over 6 is equal to a half, that's positive, right? Cosecant of pi over 6 is just flip it over. So if sine is positive, so is cosecant. If cosine is positive, so is secant. If cotangent is positive, so is tangent, because they're just reciprocals. You're not going to flip over the number and change the sign. This isn't perpendicular lines. So I just want to talk about this. Sine, cosine, and tangent. See the S? You see the C? You see the T? So we're going to play a game, and it's called ASTC. All students take cash. I don't know, find your favorite one. ASTC, because it's going to be highly useful. Or this is saying all of them are positive. Sine, cosine, and tangent, which means both cosecants, or that means the cosecant, secant, and cotangent are positive as well. In the second quadrant, it means only sine is positive, which would mean that cosine's negative, tangent's negative, cotangent's negative. I should just write those in. Cotangent's negative. Secant is negative. These are all negative. But cosecant and sine, they're positive. Tangent, down in the bottom, in the third quadrant. Tangent is the only one that's positive. So that means tangent and cotangent are now positive, which means the other 4 trig functions, these 4, are all negative. We move down to our last one and we go, oh, in quadrant 4, only cosine is positive, which would mean if only cosine is positive, that means cosine and secant are positive, but sine and cosecant, tangent and cotangent are negative. This is huge for solving stuff. Sorry, my voice cracked. ASTC, know where things are positive. So here's the game. I like this for the first problem on your test. Actually, this won't be the first problem, but one of the first things you see, where I'll say, all right, sine's negative and tangent's negative. Which quadrant are we in? What quadrant? So I like to play the game this way. If sine is less than 0, that means it's negative. So it can't be in the second quadrant because that's where sine is positive. It also can't be in the first quadrant because that's where everything's positive, and shoot, we got two negative angles. So sine is negative down in the third and the fourth quadrant. But now we move. So we're like, all right, we got all the information out of this we can get. Now we move to tangent is negative. So we look and we go, well, that's where tangent is positive. Oh, man, a tangent can't be positive in the third quadrant. Or it can't be negative in the third quadrant. It is positive. Hence, what's left over? It's only the fourth quadrant. We are in quadrant 4. We're in quadrant 4. Does that make sense? I like these games. These are great first problems on tests. How about this? Cosine is less than 0. Tangent is greater than 0. Could you play this game? Could you figure out what quadrant you're in? Because that's never going to stop happening. We're going to have this game throughout the whole freaking course. So, not getting good with it now, and this is not the most terrible thing. It's an acronym, ASTC. If cosine is less than 0, well, then it can't be all of them are positive. If cosine is negative, and it sure as hell can't be in the fourth quadrant where cosine is positive. Now we move, and there's only 2 left. It says tangent is positive. There it is. We must be in quadrant 3. This is a huge game. This is going to be with your worksheet. This is going to go along with the worksheet that you're going to be given. That if we don't know how to solve this, we're going to continue to make sine error over and over and over again. So I hope this helps. We're going to move into how we solve. How we're going to solve for any exact value of a trigonometric